Hey folks, today I want to show you a plugin that I've been using on almost all my mixes called Gullfoss by a company called Soundtheory. Gullfoss acts as a bit of an automated EQ, and it can really help clean up your mix when you have a lot of frequency buildup in a certain range. So I'm going to show you what it does and how I use it. So let's jump in. So here I have a mix of a great band called Mad Riddim, and this was recorded remotely in a rehearsal studio actually for a live stream. So we're not in a completely treated room like we would be in a regular studio. So it makes it a little bit trickier to mix in that case, but this is where Gullfoss really helps out. So I'll play a little bit of the mix without Gullfoss, and then we'll see how Gullfoss can help us take the mix even further. So I'm just going to open up Gullfoss to begin with, and I'm going to bypass it. I'll just play a little bit of this. So there's a little sample of what it's sounding like now. And then this is the Gullfoss plugin, which is currently bypassed, as you can see. And the two main parameters we have is recover and tame. So as you might have guessed, recover is going to help recover any frequencies that might have got lost in the mix. And tame, on the other hand, is going to bring down any of those frequencies that might just be overbearing. So these values, you can actually go all the way up to 200%. So I usually start around 25% for recover, and I'll do the same for tame. So as you can see here, I have Gullfoss on my master bus. So all the tracks on this session are running through this plugin. So I'll play a little bit of this with the recover and tame at 25%, and then I'll hit the bypass so you can hear the difference between the two. So to me, that definitely helps clean things up a little bit. It kind of helped tame the bass a little bit, which you could see visually when it was playing a little bit here. And it also brightens up the whole mix, which I actually like in this case. Sometimes I do find that it brightens it up a little bit, and you can counteract that with this brighten control right here. So I'll usually just dial it back a little bit. Now, there's actually a meter here, which will show you how much it's brightening up your mix. So you can dial the brightening back a little bit if you don't want it to brighten your track up too much. So I'm going to press play here, and then keep an eye right here, and you'll see this level go up. And if I want to make sure it doesn't brighten the mix too much, then I'm going to pull the brighten down. So there, with I pulling down the brighten 40%, then it's not brightening up my mix at all. But I actually kind of liked what it was doing to the mix before, so I'm actually going to pull this back up to 0 here. With it being a little bit brighter, you can definitely hear that snare crack come through a little bit more. Now, one of the other parameters we haven't talked about yet is bias. So what bias does is it tells the plugin whether or not to favor recover or tame. So if I pull up bias to be positive, then it's going to favor recover. And if I put it in the negative, then it's going to favor tame. So let's see what that does to our mix. Okay, I think I prefer it just to be dead in the center there. And then the last one we have is boost. And now boost isn't going to make your track actually louder or quieter, but it's going to boost the perceived loudness. So if we crank the boost, it's actually going to boost the low end. And if we bring it to a negative value, it's going to increase the higher end. So see what that sounds like. And again, I prefer just right in the middle right now, so I'm just going to leave it there. Another of the cool things you can do is actually limit the area that Gullfoss is working. So right now it's working the entire frequency spectrum. But here you'll see there's little red lines, and I can pull these over here. So if I wanted to bypass the low end, I can pull this to wherever I'd like. And the same with the high end. So if I just wanted to clean up the mid frequency, I can do that as well. So these I find come really in handy if you're placing the plugin on individual instruments. Right now we have it on our master bus, so it's on the entire track. But once in a while, you might put it on an individual instrument, but it might boost too much of the lows or too much of the highs, or you just want to clean up one little frequency. So this is where that comes in handy. And on that same note, I find that this plugin really shines on the master bus when you have everything sent to it. There are applications where you can use it on individual instruments, but I find where it really shines is on the master bus. Now, there's also a second version of Gullfoss called Gullfoss Live, and I'll load that in. Now here you'll see all the same parameters, but the difference with this is basically a low latency plugin. So you can put this on your master bus during your live streams, and this will just help clean things up during your live performance. So that was using Gullfoss on all recorded material. Now let's take a look at how it compares to when maybe using software instruments. So I'm going to open a new session for that. So here's a 4-bar loop using all software instruments. So once again, I've got Gullfoss on my master. I'm going to bypass this, and let's just listen to how that sounds bypassed, and then I'll turn it on and we'll get a sense of what the plugin's doing. Okay, so in this example, I find it not quite as drastic as before. And to me, that's because all these software instruments were recorded and sampled individually. So there's no bleed between the instruments like we had in the other session. And it's just a lot easier to clean up any of the frequencies that might be causing problems in the mix. So I think our mix is a lot cleaner to begin with. But I still do hear that it's cleaning up the low end a little bit. And again, just brightening it up a little bit. We can boost the recover and tame a bit more and see if the results are more drastic. So let's try that. So you can see that definitely affected the bass quite a bit more. But I kind of liked where it was at. I don't think we needed a ton for this mix, just kind of a bit of a final polish at the end there, and that's what this plugin does. So there's a couple examples of how I use this plugin on 2 different types of tracks. I find it really does help clean up your mix, especially when you don't have a lot of time to do a full mix on everything. If you put this on the master, it'll just help clean things up and help give you a more balanced mix. And if you do have the time to spend on a full mix, then this is just going to give you a nice little polish at the end during your mastering stage of your track. So this looks like something you might want to try. There's a free demo, which I'll link to in the description that you can go check out. This video hasn't been sponsored in any way. This is just a plugin that I use a lot and wanted to share with all of you. If you did like the last track you heard, I have a full tutorial showing you how I came up with it. And you can also download my free mix template for this exact same track as well, which I'll link in the description below as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.